What's up, Gamecock family? That's right. It's your friend, your buddy, your pal, Rooster, back. Want to talk a little bit about freshman impact players for South Carolina in 2025. Been a lot of chatter about a lot of our younger guys, especially wide receiver room. But a few other guys, and maybe some names that a lot of people haven't heard mentioned a lot, but it came out. And we'll talk about what Mike Shula kind of had to say in his press conference today. Clayton White had to say about some of these young guys. Starting with, the wide receiver, I think, is a major concern for South Carolina. People want to know if some of these young guys are really going to make an impact. And there's been a lot of, footage coming out of some of the receivers making one-handed catches. And a lot of talk about these younger guys. The names that are coming out are guys like Donovan Murph, Brian Rowe, Malik Clark. What type of impact will they have? I think they will have a big impact on this team. That question was kind of posed to Mike Shula about how many wide receivers, including these young guys, would they rotate. Now, they're not going to, somebody said 8. They're not going to rotate 8 guys. Unless someone gets banged up, then another guy step in there. But I do think, Brian Rowe, the things that the players are saying about him, the things that the coaches are saying about him, he's not the biggest wide receiver, but he's catching the football really good. He's making plays. He's making people miss in the scrimmages. Maybe he gets a chance at doing some punt return or something like that. Typically, the coaches don't really want to put a new guy back there because that's kind of some questions too about special teams, and we'll get into special teams on another video. But I kind of want to just talk about some of these guys and the names that you're hearing. We'll officially know when Beamer tells us who's going to kind of be. Depth chart comes out. But, these guys are going to be backed up by young guys. Guys like Jared Brown, Maziel Bennett, Dre Jacobs, Nick Harbor, they're going to be backed up by these young guys. Donovan Murph's a taller receiver. I think he's right around 6'2". Yes, he's a young guy. He reclassified, but hey, he looks like he's got all the athletic ability in the world, can make catches, contested catches, hard catches, kind of just everything I've seen coming out around the Gamecock wide receiver core. He's kind of been the guy. Malik Clark, another guy, a bigger receiver also. And Brian Rowe, those are the 3 names. I do think, and not a lot of people are talking about him, Christian Ingram, defensive line, I think somewhere he'll get in that rotation. You got to have depth. You have to build depth, right? So you got to throw these younger guys out there, especially you get ahead in ball games. You get in games like South Carolina State, you hope you can get up enough to really put these young guys out there and get them some snaps, get them some game time, get some tape on your young guys, see if they're making mistakes in games, things you can address to make better. But I think he's a guy that's going to make an impact in that defensive line room. Big kid, 6'6", 310. Looks like an athlete. He's not like a fat guy that's just going to sit in the middle and just there to kind of stop a run or eat up a bunch of blocks. He's a big, physical-looking, intimidating guy, honestly. From what I can tell from the guy, I think he's going to be great in the future for the Gamecocks. And I think he'll make some impact this year in that D-line room. Another guy, of course, we're now knowing we're down about 3 edge rushers, and we got some experienced guys. As long as you got Dylan Stewart, you got a guy. You got Brian Thomas, another guy that had 4.5 sacks last year. I think he's going to be an impact player. A little bit on the shorter side, but not quite as heavy. So you see how he holds up against the run, but you got Jatius Gear that's been in the program a couple of years that transferred in from Syracuse. D. McClowney that came in this year. Des Yu, who's been in the program for a couple of years now, still a young guy. And Des Yu's been my guy since he came. I'm just, he's been getting banged up, but I think he'll make an impact. But Jaquavius Dodd, a true freshman coming in, 6'6", 240. A little bit light for his height, but that don't always mean anything. Athletic ability, I think he makes some noise this year in that room. We kind of lost 3 guys already at defensive end, so George Wilson Jr. was the latest guy. Got banged up in the scrimmage the other day. Sounds like he may be out the rest of the season, along with a couple other guys. But I would expect Jaquavius Dodd to get some time. We'll see how he does in that rotation. You just got to keep guys healthy, man. You got to, at the end of the year, you need some guys with some experience. I mean, we saw how Dylan Stewart came in and impacted South Carolina last year as a true freshman. So we want to see more of these true freshmen really step up and put in some valuable time with the Gamecocks this year. Kind of listen to Mike Shula's interview. He talked about the wide receivers. Still don't know anything on running back, which is getting, I know, right? We're kind of winding down 11 days before South Carolina plays. Will Faison be cleared before that? No one can give us an answer on that. No one has an answer on that. No, everybody's still waiting on the NCAA to get off their ass and do something. It's just pretty ridiculous. And like I said, Clayton White talked about Anthony Addison, talked about, they call him Jaquavius Dodd, the 2 freshmen in rushers. How much they've learned, how much they've developed since getting at the program. So I look for both of those guys to really kind of help out on defense, get some snaps in through the rotation, give some guys some breaks, especially if South Carolina gets ahead in some games or some games get out of hand. Hopefully we're not getting blowed out so they get in. We do not want that disaster. I also heard a lot of people, I got to defend my man Beamer for a minute. A lot of people going around talking about, well, South Carolina's inconsistency. Now, if you want to talk about through history, yes, I'll agree. South Carolina's been pretty inconsistent. But some people have brought up Beamer has been inconsistent, and I'm trying to figure out. I get 2023, but it's like when people say that, they forget the injury bug that hit South Carolina at offensive line in 2023, where we barely could. I mean, it was a mash unit. They were scraping together guys, just sticking them somewhere that maybe they didn't even play in high school. I mean, we had to move Nick Gargiulo all over the place, make him a center. I mean, we know how bad it was in 2023. But injuries you can't use injuries and just saying a coach has been inconsistent, because other than that, Beamer's pretty much gotten better every year. This team's gotten better every year. I don't know if there's a team out there that has the depth, especially now during the NIL times, that has the depth. And I mean, you see Georgia starting a freshman on O-line. South Carolina, Shed Surratt, who's going to be an impact player. Everything I've heard, that kid's going to be starting left guard. And he's a freshman. Everybody says, well, you got to play freshman. Well, hell, Georgia's doing it. A lot of these teams are doing it now because of NIL and the transfer portal and people leaving. And if these kids come in and they're better than what's on your team, or maybe a more experienced guy you brought in the transfer portal and these kids are beating them out, that's who gets on the field. It doesn't matter how old they've been, how long they've been around. The better player is going to get put on the field because coaches want to win. Now, South Carolina doesn't really have, the people going around and talking about the defense and you got to replace all these guys. It's not like South Carolina's throwing a bunch of freshmen out. Brandon Cisse was brought up today in the conversation with Clayton White in his interview, and how he can play multiple positions. He could play. He's going to be a cornerback, but if you need him, he'll go over to nickel and play. Clayton White was talking about just things that he has that you can't really teach a guy, but he's a smart guy. They say he's a workaholic. He's always in the film room. He's always working out. He's always doing whatever. But he has that change of direction speed. He has overall speed. The guys they call him Glitch now. I guess he's got a new nickname. So Glitch has some speed. And he's a versatile guy. Somebody you need. If somebody gets dinged up, you need to bring somebody in or whatever. Kilgore gets dinged up, you move CC over. You bring Vakari Swain, and if Vakari's not already starting, because you got Judge Collier, it gives you the flexibility to be able to move people around, give people a break. This defense ain't going to be that bad. A lot of people are worried about it. I think this defense, if they get a smidge better, just a little bit better at stopping the run, they will be better than last year. That was the Achilles heel for South Carolina last year. We saw it at the end of the LSU game with Durham. Couldn't hardly bring him down. Missouri tends to always use that wide zone run game on us, and it gets tricky for us sometimes. So if we can seal up that interior defensive line, and these guys are bigger, maybe not explosive. We talk about it in our videos all the time. Maybe not quite as explosive as TJ Sanders or Taka Hemingway or whatever. But you need them. You need them to be able to stop the run. Bigger bodies, bigger guys. I think if they're better at stopping the run, they can eat up some blockers. You can let your defensive ends just eat all day, because everybody's going to be worried about Dylan Stewart. So that gives opportunities for other guys to step up and make plays. I just think people need, I don't know, I guess it's PTSD of being a Gamecock fan. Been one a long time myself, and I kind of have those moments too where I start letting a little bit of doubt creep in my head about certain things, and then I'm like, hey, you know what? South Carolina, this is a different football team that what I really haven't seen this type of football team since Spurrier was here. And, you know, it took Spurrier a few years, too. Let's not think that Spurrier went out there and in year 4 he was getting 11 wins, because he wasn't quite there yet, but he got better every year. Brought in better talent every year. Started signing the 5 stars out of South Carolina like Marcus Lattimore and Stephon Gilmore's, and the guys that built the foundation for the Spurrier years were all homegrown guys. And Beamer brings a lot of homegrown transfers back too. South Carolina guys. Brandon Cisse was a South Carolina kid, born and raised. Jordan Dingle, South Carolina kid, born and raised. These guys are coming back home now, and they're going to be players, and they're going to be impact players for South Carolina in 2025. Does that relate into wins and losses? Where folks, oh, well, we got to get to at least 9 wins. Other teams get better too. I do think I like that some of these teams that they're talking about that are improved or getting better, like Oklahoma, have to come to Williams-Brice Stadium. They've never experienced Williams-Brice Stadium, especially if that game is moved to a night game. It's going to be rocking. And you're going to say, well, Oklahoma has, they play their biggest game every year is against Texas on a neutral site. Think about the Big 12. What other environment has Oklahoma gone to just like the environments they have to travel to now in the SEC? And Williams-Brice Stadium is one of those. It's tied for second for the loudest stadiums in the SEC, behind Tennessee. Might be in the country. I don't know. Tennessee's got way more people than South Carolina on a whole, so you expect them to be a little bit louder. But, let a kickoff get taken to the house by Xavier Legette or a big play or something like that happens. That stadium gets to swaying, baby. I don't know if they're going to take the sway out in this $350 million upgrade they're doing or not. It's going to be interesting to see how they build Williams-Brice Stadium and all the upgrades and what it looks like when they're done. I know it's a several-year project. The other day I heard, I guess, as soon as we get done playing Clemson, it begins. They'll start tearing down and get ready to build up. And I helped build Florida State Stadium. The company I worked for did a lot of stadium work, like Panthers, Mercedes-Benz, stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see what. Hey, you know what? Tennessee fans are crying right now about their ticket prices. South Carolina fans going to be crying too, because when they get them upgrades, they're probably going to have to raise the prices. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get sponsorships to come in and try to keep, I think, a lot of that cost down, which is the folks that are, they're kind of bitching about the sponsorship on the field and stuff. But you're going to see a lot more than that, man. Because if you want to make improvements, the money's got to come from somewhere. And it's good to get businesses involved, because then it's a tax write-off for the business. It helps the university and helps hold the prices down. Hopefully in some of this redesign stuff, they redesign some roads around Williams-Brice Stadium, make it a little easier to get people in and out, because that's a major complaint. But hey, look, I worked in NASCAR for 20 years, baby. I'm telling you, back in the day, getting out of now, you could probably breeze your way out of a NASCAR race because nobody shows up. But back in the day, I'm telling you, when it used to get packed up, like getting out of Bristol, any of those places, bro, traffic was a disaster. It didn't matter where. I mean, even Daytona, and you got the interstate right by the speedway, it was still a pain in the ass to get out of there. But yeah, that's what I got for today. You guys like the video, please hit that like and subscribe, share it out, let everybody know Rooster is back, name of the new channel. Also go over and check out the Always SEC channel. I put videos out over there too when I want to get more into other football teams. I try to keep this more Gamecock related, but as schedules come and as games come, and we will talk about other teams. We'll get ready to do our Virginia Tech kind of look ahead, breakdown of that game, and give a score prediction. So I appreciate all you guys. Everyone that stops, takes the time to watch the videos. It humbles me that you guys do it. It's humbling me that the little channel is growing so well. We're just going to keep digging and keep having fun. And I hope all y'all have another wonderful and beautiful rest of your day. Peace.